Hi, good evening, everyone. I've been away for quite a long time. Yeah, I think I'm away for about what, 1.5 months. Yeah, I was away for some well family duties. I would say, yeah, that I wouldn't say is a happy one because I couldn't quite understand why people say that baby is a bundle of joy. So that baby is a bundle of terror. At least for the short stint that I had. All right, so welcome back to my show, Optional Forex. Thank you for being patient. I believe that in the past, I was actually testing this particular indicator, which is known as the oh, shit, what is that name? Pattern recognition master. Yeah. So I still have two more pattern left to go. I've actually tested the shooting star, which most of you would know it as the what you call it, high test, low test bar. Yeah, shooting star. Then I've also tested the engulfing patterns, bullish and bearish engulfing patterns. Both the results came back not bad, not bad. And each has its characteristics. I don't know whether I mentioned this in the past, but I will actually do it again later. So today, for this particular session, what I've tested is actually the dark cloud patterns, and the opposite will be known as the piercing line pattern. Now, this is a pattern price action which I myself have never traded before. In fact, I actually actively avoid it. Yeah, I can't say that I avoid due to reasons. Uh, I avoid due to because I don't know how to trade it, and I have no idea what this particular price action is telling me. Yeah, in fact, I would say that I actively avoid trading the dark cloud and the piercing line simply because of the forex education I received. Yeah, it was advised not to trade this. Yeah. So without further ado, let me go through what's the yeah, okay. So I believe you're actually looking at my Google. Yeah, so essentially the piercing line or the dark cloud pattern, the piercing line is actually a bullish pattern, the dark cloud is actually a bearish pattern, right? So you should be looking at my Google with the price action itself. If you're not, then just give me a holler. Yeah. So how these two patterns, the main characteristics, yeah, is that it must have a gap, right? So for a bullish pattern, which is a piercing body, it must gap down and then close near the top of the candle. Okay, the current forming candle. So that would be the piercing body. Yeah. So the bearish pattern, which is dark cloud, will be the opposite. It must get up and then close with a bearish body. Yeah. So essentially, this is actually a two bar price action pattern. Right. So there's a piercing line, dark cloud. You can see that it needs to gap. For a piercing line, it needs to gap down and then close bullishly. For the dark cloud, it needs to gap up and then close bearishly. Yeah. Two bar price actions. Now, and this pattern is actually pretty hard to test, simply because Forex doesn't actually offers you much gap compared to stocks. Yeah, so in fact, I have to keep scrolling back all the way up to 2016 to actually get somewhat of a reasonable amount of data. Yeah. So now just a bit of a recap. Okay, previously the very first pattern which I trade, which is the one that I love the most, will be the shooting star or hammer. Yeah, so high test, low test bar within a trend trading context. Right, so for each one, I actually tested for the trend trading context. I actually tested about 20 trades per entry per pair, and then I give it a 2-hour risk to reward or a 4-hour risk to reward. So it actually give me pretty decent result. Okay, of the 20 trades overall, I tested about I forgot how many. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 15 pairs altogether. So 15 pairs, 20 trades each. So I got a total of about 300 trades. I got 72% returns. The win rate is about 41.33. So 44-hour risk to reward. I got about 150% returns, but the win rate is lower, 30%. So the shooting star or hammer is actually a pretty good price action to trade for a trend trading pattern. Right. So, and if you're willing to let the trade run, as in 4R, you actually get double a 2R risk to reward. So this will give you a huge hint as to which price action you should pay more attention to. Now, all these trades are taken within a daily time frame context. Of course, I also did a no trend filter, and the results actually came back much worse. The 2R actually didn't get any winners at all. In fact, I was down by more than 100%, and the 4R was actually up by a measly 15%. And in fact, because I did it without a trend filter, I doubled the amount of trades I've taken. Yeah, so from 20 pairs, 20 trades for each pair, I've doubled it to 40 trades for each pair, just to get a much more accurate result, because I deemed that without a trend filter, the results might get more erratic. Yeah, so you can see that the total trades, 600 trades, 300 trades. Yeah, so shooting star, I think if you want to trade shooting star, high test, low test bar, keep it within the context of trend trading, won't go wrong much. Alright, so that's the story I get out of shooting star. Now the next pattern which I actually tested will be the engulfing bar. Right? So this is the engulfing bar I tested. Again, same pairs. One with trend filter and one without trend filter. Now, I was a bit surprised by the result. Why? When it comes to the engulfing bar, I'm still profitable with the 2R and 4R winner, but it isn't as much. What surprises me is that without the trend filter, the engulfing actually fares better. So out of 600 trades, right, a total of 600 trades, the engulfing bar actually gave me an 80% return, which I would think is, and even the 2R risk to reward, okay, previously it was, for the shooting star, it was down by more than 100%, but this time round, out of 600 trades, it was actually up by 3%. Not much. Okay, admittedly, it was not much, but the story it tells me is that if you want to trade reversal and you're willing to let the trade run, possibly the engulfing pattern actually works better than the hammer or shooting star. This is a story that I get out of each. But of course, it still can't beat the results from trend trading. Interesting. Okay, because I trade almost the shooting star pretty much exclusively. Yeah. So this is something that I learned from the backtesting. Now the most recent one, which I've actually backtested, the dark cloud or the piercing line. So in case you forget, this is how it looks like for the images. I need to have a gap. So for a piercing body, I need to gap down and then have a bullish close. For the bearish pattern, I need to gap up with a bearish close. Now after backtesting, this is the result I've gotten. With or without the trend filter, I didn't get a fantastic result. It was a okay, but isn't something which I will particularly pay attention to. Now, if you realize, the number of trades I've tested actually has fallen. Yeah, so from a trend trading context, previously I've taken 20 trades per pair, but now I've actually dropped to 10 trades per pair. For without the trend filter, previously I've taken 40 trades per pair, now I've taken only 20 trades per pair. Simply because I don't have much example. That's why I couldn't take as much trade. I may possibly get more trading sample if I go down to a lower time frame, but that would mess up the continuity. Yeah, because all of this pattern I decided to test only on the daily time frame. Yeah. So for the dark cloud or the piercing line, unfortunately for now, I cannot draw any conclusion whether this pattern is useful, because both the trend trading and the without a trend filter context, it did not give me a negative result. I did not generate a negative result. But at the same time, it also did not give me any much hope that says that this is a fantastic result to trade with. So I'll leave it to the audience to draw a conclusion whether you want to trade this. Yeah. So just to give you a brief run through how I actually backtest it. It's a rather simple approach. Yeah, something which I do nearly on a daily basis. So you can see that this is a piercing line. All I take is my Fib tool, assume it's a market entry, and if price hits 2R, I'll calculate as a winner. If price hits stop loss, then it's a loser. Simple as that. And you can see from this particular chart, 17th September, and the next example is actually on 3rd June, which this will be a stop loss. And then 20 April, thereabouts, so this one will actually be a winner. In fact, it hits 4R. And then this will be the next example, March, immediate stop loss. And then I have to scroll all the way back to what? Last year, June, just to get another example. So this one, for this particular trade, it will actually hit 2R, which I will calculate as a 2R win, but a 4R lost. Right, so this is how I did my backtesting, a pretty manual way of doing. I kind of enjoy it because it gives me certain context, certain view into the market, which I would not be necessarily getting. Yeah, so this will actually be both a 2R win and a 4R win, similar for the next ones. A 2R win and a 4R win. So just to give you a bit of refresher how I actually do my backtest, a very manual process. So again, yeah, I can't actually draw any conclusion of these two price actions. Do any of you actually trade it? Personally, I don't. Might explore in the future, but it's not actually high up on my list. I have to trouble mine to actually give you all the links because it has been 1.5 months. So I use on each of my show, I do not hide the indicator which I test. You can actually get the indicator from the links in there. Let me go to my Google Gmail and show you where is it. Just give me a minute. Yeah. So mine is just given you a link. So this is my Google Drive. All the indicators that I've tested, which I've shared with you all the results, okay, the YouTube backtest results, you can be found here now. The pattern recognition master is the one that I've just tested. So you can actually download this if you think it is somewhat useful to you. Yeah. Especially for those of you who are pretty poor in spotting price actions. Right. So this may actually, it actually helps you spot 4 different kind of price action. Yeah. So I myself are only up to now only the shooting star, hammer, both are the same, and the engulfing proved useful to me. So for next week, what I intend to test is actually the last price action, which will be the doji. I personally, doji, for the doji price action, I think it's a really useful price action to trade, especially if you combine the doji with the engulfing, which will form a 3-bar price action. Yeah. So I will do more testing on that, and then 2 weeks later, I'll come back to you all. Alright, so keep a look on this page. That will be the last of the price action which I will test with this indicator before moving on to others. Alright, so any of you have any questions, anything that you want to share, please do so. So same thing, if any of you have any tips in improving the rates of trading a dark cloud or piercing, share with us. If it's interesting enough, I might actually do another back test and see actually how it forms. Yeah. So primarily, this is how I learned, how I derive my trading strategies. Just doing crap tons of backtesting and try to pierce together different indicators, which ultimately give me a reasonable risk to reward. Then I'll start to trade it, or rather port test it. Right, so here you go. I believe you all have the links ready. So at this moment, I don't recommend trading the dark cloud or the piercing line, simply because the results is not impressive. Yeah. Now, one thing which I noticed it, and I have a suspicion, but I cannot prove it at the moment, is that it might actually perform better for the exotics. Yeah. Because mostly I've tested it in the majors and minors. I have not tested much on the exotics. Yeah. So my suspicion is that it might have a better result on the exotics. Personally, I don't trade them, so it's just a suspicion on my part. So anybody, if you want, you can take up the challenge, go and test it yourself, generate some decent results. If you're happy with it, use it. If you're not, chuck it. Yeah. All right. So with that, thank you for joining me this evening, and I'll be back 2 weeks later to give you all the results of the Doji price action, which is a 1 bar price action. All right. See ya and have a good evening.